Hi everyone, I'm back at home, still the same day as my last vlog. I had my nipples tattooed on today, nipples and areolas. It would be weird to just have nipples. Because now that I have protocol at night, like, I guess if there's one way to get into better sleeping habits is to have like post-surgical care that you have to follow, and I just realized that my Invisalign trays are in right now. So if I'm talking funny, that's why. I had Invisalign years ago, but I still use them as my retainers. So, yeah, I had my nipples and areolas tattooed today. The first session, I will need more than one. She said it would take 2 to 3 appointments to have them finished. Like, I can see right now, like, my camera is not straight, but I don't want to move too much to adjust it, so you get what you get. I did a vlog, the last one, when I was literally just leaving the doctor's office because I was feeling really queasy and I didn't feel comfortable driving home just yet until I had time to eat something and drink something and just feel better before I got on the road to go back home. And now that was at what, like 3 o'clock-ish in the afternoon, and now it's a little after 10 p.m. So I'm less reactive than I was obviously coming out of it. So I wanted to come back on in case I scared the bejesus out of any of you from my last vlog. So yeah, with a little bit of a clearer head, though I don't. Again, I'm tired. Today was a long day and continues to be a long day because you know what my boobs feel like, which is weird. If you ever nursed a child, the feeling of engorgement, like when your baby starts sleeping through the night and your boobs start to fill up with milk, but your baby's sleeping, so like you're not gonna wake them to feed, and you wake up in the morning and like you've gone whatever 6 hours or something without nursing, and your boob is like hard as a rock because it's so full of milk. And then you go to a nurse, and then your baby latches on, and it's like poof, like all the milk starts pouring out. Or you could like pump and dump just to like pump to relieve some of the pressure. I don't know why I'm giving nursing tips right now. That's weird. Pump to relieve some of the pressure, and then well, I say pump and dump, but pump and freeze it because breast milk is very valuable. But that's the feeling I feel like right now. I feel like maybe my boobs are inflamed a little bit right now. I don't really. Earlier I noticed they seemed a little bit swollen, but it's like how would they even get swollen if it's just skin and implant? I don't even know. But anyway, so went to plastics today. I am. It's February now. In August, this was 8. So it's 3.5 years. 3.5 years since I had my double mastectomy. Brief synopsis, you can fast forward if you've been watching this for a while. I had a double mastectomy with a skin-sparing double mastectomy. They could not save my nipples. I'm not going to go into all that because I did that like 2 vlogs ago, so you can just rewind. I just want to get to sleep, but I want to record this for me and for other people too. Maybe this will be like a day-by-day nipple tattoo check-in. I'm not taking my top off, just like heads up. You can Google nipple tattooing and find all sorts of pictures and stuff. And pretty much what I see online as the first go through with the first appointment is basically what my nipples look like, in case you were wondering. But it was a long day and I'm tired. I took Tylenol when I got home, and on the aftercare sheet it said, don't take aspirin. I already take aspirin every day, but I did call plastics as soon as I finished my last vlog before I went home, and I asked if it was okay because I'm on aspirin. I was like, shit, was I supposed to stop the aspirin before the tattooing? Because they didn't tell me to do anything in particular beforehand to get ready. I am very glad that I had a non-nipple tattoo done before I had these two done. It takes away the mystery a little bit, or in a good way. It takes away the unknown. When you know, like I had this done in August of last year, so it's, what is that, 4, 5, 6 months ago. So because I've seen the healing process with this, and honestly, I can't even remember all of it either, but I know that like just what you walk away with on the first day of tattooing is not like what your tattoo is going to look like forever. Just like with surgery, you know, it's what you look like the week of surgery is so not what you're going to look like down the road. So while it's so hard, like you have to be patient with the process, and everyone heals differently. So, you know, Lady A can say that like, oh, I was up and running marathons in 2 weeks. And like for me, I had frozen shoulder. I was in rough physical shape for quite a while. I had immediate reconstruction. They never did expanders. I went right to implants. My implants are pretty much about the same size, or amount of, like the amount of tissue they took out of me is very similar to the amount of cc's of the implant they put in. Having said that, like, implants are not shaped like breasts. Breast tissue and silicone are not the same thing. So they don't look the same because they're, they're made of different material. I did have a reconstruction revision 2 years ago. Here's some irony. I had it 2 years ago. If you notice, my backdrop is different. I went for my week follow-up after my revision surgery. The revision went well. It was like an hour, maybe an hour and a half that I was in surgery for. Again, you can rewind. I'm not going to get into all those details. I'm just trying to give you the overview. But after my check-in, after the week check-in after surgery, everything was going great. And then it was like 2 days later, my apartment flooded and I had to move. So that's why everything looks different in my background, because I don't live in the same place I lived before. So that kind of got in the way of healing. The irony is, like, I wasn't ready to have my nipples tattooed on. There's so many misconceptions with breast cancer and mastectomies. I feel like people think you've seen one, you've seen them all, but there are so many permutations of things for this whole process of medication and even surgery, where your scars, like, you know, did you save the nipple? Did you not save the nipple? Did you have a mastectomy? Did you have a lumpectomy? Like, you know, did you have fat grafting? There's just so many aspects of putting together the weird-ass menu of things you can have done with surgery following a breast cancer diagnosis. I didn't know it was a thing that they would just remove your nipples. And for me, my, if you notice, I don't know if you noticed, but my arms again are like stuck here. I can't not move my body. I don't want to get, I mean, obviously right now I'm being very protective because, like, I don't want anyone touching the new artwork here. But I remember like living for so long with my arms like glued to my side as protection, like, don't touch, you know, like, let's just put my little happy bubble around me. But then that led to me getting frozen shoulder, which happens after the surgery sometimes. I just didn't move my arm enough because my right arm, where all the hubbub was. And it's weird right now is, like, I feel that same, like, you want to kind of close up and protect. So like my shoulders are in, I'm not like up and back. And I'm supposed to go to the gym in the morning. I'm gonna go anyway, but I'm gonna be adamant that I'm not doing anything for my upper body tomorrow at all. I will do legs or abs, and that is all. I am not doing anything with like lat pull downs or certainly not push-ups. And the trainer who's at the gym on Thursdays is this young kid. And I don't really know a way to say that like I had my nipples tattooed on, and that's why I'm not doing upper body work. I think I'm just going to say I had a procedure done. But one of my friends who has been so helpful with this whole journey with me, she is in the class after mine at that same gym. So she'll walk in and be like, hey, did you get your tattoos? And he'll be like, is that all it is, tattoos? And I'm like, all it is. No, that's not all it is. Anyhow, that's tomorrow. Let's deal with today. So you can watch the last vlog as to the raw emotion I had like afterwards, mostly because I was very, very surprised that that I was in pain, because my boobs have been numb since surgery. You know, there's all these, again, I'm not a doctor. I don't know all this stuff. I'm just talking from what I have heard or looked up or whatever. Like the nerves that are cut when they're doing a mastectomy, like it is a common thing that like you just lose feeling. Can people regain feeling? Yes. Like I've heard some women who said that like they were numb and then, sorry, I feel really weird. They were numb and then they like regained full feeling back in their nipples again. So why couldn't I keep my nipples? It's not like everyone who has a mastectomy can't keep their nipples. It's not the case. My, sorry, I feel weird. I wonder if I should take another Tylenol before I fall asleep. I feel kind of queasy. Maybe I should stop talking about it. I won't run too long with this. Like listening to your body. My body's telling me like, Jen, go lay down. And I have to like put together a concoction of pillows to keep me from turning because I don't want to turn on this shit. So I had several tumors on my right, in my right breast that were malignant. And one of them was right by my nipple. And it was very high up, like in levels of skin. So it was very close to, it was very, very close to my skin and close to my nipple. And my breast surgeon said, you know, if we, like, obviously everything is a choice, you know, even getting treatment for cancer is a choice. Everything is a choice. Do you want to die? Do you not want to die? I didn't want to die, so I chose to do what the doctors told me to do. And she said, you know, it's always a choice. If you wanted to keep your nipples, we could keep them. She's like, but if you're putting them back on, you're taking the chance of putting the cancer right back on what we just cut out. And why the fuck would I want to go through a double mastectomy to just put skin back on that potentially has cancer cells on it? No. And at the time, like, they'll tell you, you know, oh, well, you can, you know, you can have nipples reconstructed. There's lots of options for that too. It's probably another vlog somewhere, but they can take your skin and like pull it together and twist it to kind of make a nub, and that would be your nipple, and then you would still get the areola and stuff like tattooed around it, but at least you'd have something that protrudes. That's an option. From the people that I've spoken to that have done that, I have not ever come across anyone who has done that and been happy with the results. The nubs tend to, and again, I just know this from speaking to other women, not because I'm a, you know, professional with all this stuff, but the nubs tend to flatten out over time, then you have to have it done again. And then you'd have to have like tattooing done again. And it's just like it's not a one and done thing at all. Some people choose to have tissue taken from other parts in your body. And honestly, I can't remember where, because I didn't want to have scars someplace else on my body just to create a nipple again. I'm like, if you could just take my boob and squeeze it, like, just let's do that. But then, like, if you're taking tissue from another part of your body, you're obviously then having an additional surgical site that you're pulling from. So I didn't want to do that. And I'm like, so what do you do in the meantime? And she's like, you don't have a nipple. I'm like, well, that's just fucking weird. And I wasn't gonna like have a nipple on one side and not on the other. Like I wanted to keep it the same. So anyway, so they removed both my breasts and both my nipples. I've been through a lot, man. I just wasn't ready to have the nipples put on. Repeatedly, I was told, you know, Jen, you'll feel better if you had the nipples tattooed on. But I was also under the assumption that once the nipples, and I think I was told this before, once the nipples are put on, like, you should be done with all your surgeries before the nipples are put on. So being perfectionistic Jen, I'm like, well, I had the reconstruction revision. Then the apartment flooded, so the healing wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And now, I mean, I'm like, if you're going to get plastic surgery, why not do plastic surgery until your boobs are exactly the way that you want them to look? And at my last plastics check-in, which was not that long ago, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I thought I was going to be getting ready to have one more surgery, and that would be my last one. And then I'd go ahead and have the nipples tattooed. And again, I'm not going to go into super detail. You can rewind a couple of vlogs back about that appointment with plastics. But he didn't want to do another surgery on me. And I appreciate that he's conservative. He thought my body had been through enough. And that what I was thinking my body, the perfection I was thinking my body would have, truly, whether you have cancer or not, there is no perfect. You could have, I feel like you could have reconstruction done 10 times and you will still find something that's wrong, something you don't like or whatever. And I'm not going to be like one of those people that, like, you know, what's that show, Botched or whatever. Not that he would botch me. It's just like I can't imagine going in to have like so many surgeries because I'm just not happy with the results. And the reality is, like, I'm 53, you know, like, gravity still happens. I've put on, this is part of what that was hard today. I put on 35 pounds since I started this whole cancer shit journey thing. Why? Meds, treatment. I talked to different doctors and they blame it on a different thing that I'm on. Like today, she's like, it's the Lupron, you know, she's like, that damn Lupron, you know, it shoves you into menopause like almost immediately. So that's a big shock to your system. And I don't know, again, all the nooks and crannies of like why menopause causes weight gain, why Lupron causes weight gain, why all the other stuff that I'm on causes weight gain. I have been working my ass off at the gym for over a year now, working out more than I have in decades, and the weight's just not coming off. In the beginning, I lost 10 pounds, but I was eating like not sustainably. Like, I was just miserable with what I was not eating, and how I was eating just wasn't working. So I decided to stop tracking my food and to not try to consume 90 grams of protein a day, because it just, if I did that, I was actually gaining more weight. And just finally figure out what works for me to keep me mentally happy and keep my body functioning, like where I have energy. I can actually go to the bathroom, because lots of protein apparently made people not go to the bathroom as easily. You know, you got to weigh your pros and cons. But I put the work in for over a year, and I lost the 10 pounds, which was great, but I could not, if I got to 188, I'd have to be like starving myself for a week, which is just so absurd to me, because I'm like, what the hell happened? Like, it just seems so fast. With the weight gain, I mean, like, it just seemed like I blinked, and all of a sudden I was skating at 200 pounds, and I'm like, what? I haven't been 200 pounds since I was pregnant. Like, what the fuck? And then, like, I was on a Lupron for 26 months. Every month I had a Lupron injection. I get that's a lot on your body. The Zemeta infusions, I don't think have anything to do with weight gain. I don't really know. I don't really think that they do. It's all about bone and calcium stuff with the Zemeta infusions. I mean, they suck in and of themselves, but I have a whole, like, a series I did on those, because the infusion and afterwards is rough with the Zemeta. But big picture wise, my bone density is, knock on wood, fine. If anything, better than it was before I was on the Zemeta. So I see the sorry, my pain's coming back. I see the value of, obviously, of the treatments that I did. And then there's the meds. Like, even when I stopped the Lupron injections, which was a little over a year ago, I haven't had a period since. So I'm officially in menopause. So, like, I'm going through, you know, regular menopause in addition to the chemical menopause I was in before. Just like all these things are like a lot on your body. So menopause also causes, I think, your metabolism to slow down. Like, the weight gain is a part of the whole picture. Tamoxifen, there was brief chat about me switching to an aromatase inhibitor, but there's just too many factors right now. We need to, like, slow down the cart and the horse here and focus on one thing at a time. I don't want to make the change right now. And even if even being in menopause, I don't have to switch off the tamoxifen. It would be awesome if that, like, getting off of that would make a big change in the weight. I don't know, but it's not a today conversation at all. I've had actually a lot of, like, wacko side effects from the tamoxifen. Like, when my retina tore, and I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, obviously I wear glasses, but just because you have bad vision doesn't, like, increase your odds of having your retinas tear. Anyhow, and of course there are vision issues when you're on tamoxifen, or there's an increased risk of eye issues, but they haven't seen a direct correlation with, like, retinal tears. But if I hadn't caught that as soon as I did, like, if your retina detaches, that is a bad day. Anyhow, so once I had like I said, I didn't, once I had the reconstruction revision a year ago, or sorry, 2 years ago, I thought I would be fine, but then throughout the year, my right boob, I started having, like, similar stuff as what I had with the left boob. So I thought that's why I would go in for one more surgery, then do the tattooing. So when I went to plastics, when I went to plastics a couple weeks ago, and he told me he wasn't going to do a third surgery, like, I understood why. And I appreciate the nurturing of him acknowledging what my body has gone through, and not, and just giving it a break, you know. And I know that I can be I know that I'm perfectionistic, but I'm also much more realistic than I used to be. That, like, you know, the picture of what you envision with having implants, and you know, having fake nipples put on. Like you I don't know. I almost picture it like this like utopian boob universe of like, you know, I'm gonna have perky boobs. Someone actually told me about my perky boobs. I'm like, have you seen my boobs? They're not perky. They're higher than they were before, but they're not. I don't think they're perky. Um, like the size that your body is like is not gonna change. I mean like I'm not a petite person. I don't mean that in weight. I'm just like how I'm built. Like I'm not. I have skinny legs. I've got great legs. I've got skinny legs, but all my width is in my torso and stuff. Like I'm of German descent, so you know Germans aren't known as for being like petite. You know I've got not super wide shoulders, but whatever. I'm not a small little girl. Um, I'm not going to beat you up either, but I'm not petite is my point. So like, you know, even after the surgery and stuff, your body still just heals the way it's going to heal. So yeah, I wasn't ready to have the nipples tattooed on. I am, not that this matters, but it's in my space as being a single woman. Like I'm divorced. I've been divorced for, gosh, 10 years now. And the dating thing is interesting because with COVID mixed in with stuff, it's like kind of mess with my with my life plans, I guess with everyone's life plans. But the last person like I dated was late 2019. Like I went on a couple dates here or there in early 2020, but then the shutdown was in March of 2020. And like, well, I certainly wasn't dating during the shutdown of COVID. I wasn't even like seeing many friends and stuff. And then like a year later was when I was diagnosed. So, you know, in the back of my head, I'm like, you know, I'd like to have a partner again. Clearly over the past, you know, almost I say 4 years because the year before I was diagnosed, I was having a lot of weird health things going on. So this really has been going on for me, like this health journey since 2020, which is 5 years ago now. Like September of 2020 was when things started getting weird when I had my kidney stone. Also still on meds for that, but because everything's been fine for the past 5 years, there's hopefully a chance that I will be off the meds for that. I get why they kept me on it because who wants to have more than one kidney stone? They do hurt more than childbirth. That's not just something they say. I've had birth 2 children and I've had a kidney stone and I've never had pain like that before. It feels like someone's taking a dagger and jabbing it into your like back here and just not moving it, like just putting it in and be like, not a good time. And as quickly as the pain comes on, as soon as the pain is from when the kidney stone goes from the kidney into the ureter, because the ureter is not very big and the kidney stone is bigger. You can't stick this jagged fucking rock into this like narrow tube without causing issue. But once it's in the ureter, like all of a sudden, like boom, the pain is just like gone just as fast as it came on. Just so weird. They were supposed to give me, like I went to the ER and they were supposed to give me morphine, but like the ER during COVID was just like a fucking disaster. And they were supposed to give me morphine, but they never did. And then when they realized that they didn't, at that point, the stone had moved. It had been like 3 hours of like excruciating pain. Anyhow. But the point is like I was on this pause, like obviously with taking care of my health. And then still I'm on this journey of like, you know, who am I now and restarting yet again, which should be exciting. It's just like, it's a lot to restart that many times. But yeah, like I recently like joined online dating apps again and like just thinking about dating. And like today when I was at plastics, and she looked at she was looking at my boobs, like, or at the tattooing from different angles. And I looked in a mirror and I turned back and I saw her looking at me, and I'm like, well, I better get used to that when like I'm not paying attention and I look over and like someone's looking at my boobs. Like that's gonna happen for the first time with a partner, like the first person I, feel comfortable enough with showing my boobs to, because it's gonna be a fucking ass big deal. And I'm not gonna just show them to just anybody. He needs to be someone special. Yeah. It just makes it like I don't know many single, like, I'm divorced. I call myself single because it just sounds less negative than saying I'm divorced. But I don't know many single women who've been through this. Almost everyone in my support groups and stuff, they're all married. They've had partners for quite some time. So the idea of like dating after a double mastectomy from breast cancer is like, it adds a whole other, like, you think dating's hard as it is, and like now like you're adding this on top of it. And I'm not doing any of these decisions because of someone else. Like, no. I learned a lot of life lessons between my divorce and just my journey of like dating after divorce and stuff, that this is all about me. This is all about me. This is my body. This is my life, like what I'm gonna do. So anyway, I'm getting way philosophical, and I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, when she did the tattooing today, like, I was very much in hyperdrive in my last vlog, because I felt it, which is my right side. I didn't feel a lot, but so when you're first starting out, they do a lot of measurements. She had like a tape measure. Well, now that I have it tanked up on, I'll show you a little bit more of like what she did. But so she made some white marks, and I hope I got it all off with, I was trying to be gentle with washing, because you're supposed to wash gently with your fingertips with soap and water, non-fragrant soap and water. And I wanted to get the markings off, but I didn't want to rub too much because I just need to be kind to this area for at least a couple days. So she uses a white, some sort of marker-y thing. I asked her what it was, what the pen was that she was using, because I could feel her. She was tracing. I'll put some stills up on something. I took a bunch of stills. If I spent more time editing, I would just throw them all into here. Maybe I'll learn how to do that. I don't know. If not, I'll put them up on the Facebook page. The Facebook page is also invasive ductal carcinoma. What? I understand I should make that into something that's easier to remember, but it is what it is. So she takes her white marker thing, and she puts like a couple dots here, because they measure where your nipples go based on your breastbone, or your chest, sternum, whatever the fuck this is. So she has like this tape measure, and she starts like wherever it is here. And you wonder why you need to know geometry in school, here's why. So she takes a tape measure, like the kind that you get at IKEA, and just like measures down this way and then measures down that way to make sure like it's equidistant from each other. But then also considering like where your scars are. For me, I feel like I should shift this down a little bit. Oh, I'm sore. Oh. For me, you can see like the bandages that I have here, but that's fine because you can't see my nipples. You just see bandages. So my scars go straight across, like here to here. Part of also why they're not doing another surgery is like I wanted them to clean up the sides a little bit here, because when I put my arms down, there's like a fold but I guess like most everyone my age has a fold there anyway, and it could be because of the weight, I don't know. But if I had that fold taken care of, he'd have to have my scar go longer, and like it would be underneath my armpit. And in general, having a scar under your armpit is not the most comfortable of things to have. So, you know, he's looking out for a big picture of me. But anyhow, so my scars go across this way. So when she does I have a piece of, what is it called? I keep thinking it's Teflon. It's not Teflon. It's Telfa. Telfa pads. They're non-stick. Well, yeah, non-stick. Imagine something sticky. Oh my gosh. They're not adherent dressings. They do have latex in them, but I'm sure there's something similar if you have a latex allergy. So she measures them based on like, you know, distance here, like a big isosceles triangle, but also like the shape of my boobs are not exactly shaped the same. No boobs are exactly shaped the same. No one's 100% perfectly symmetric. So she looks at like my boob as a whole, where with placement of like the beginning of it, there's just a lot of measuring to make sure it's like everything's in the right spot and in a spot that makes me happy too. So you got to have rapport with, I think I mentioned this, it's the nurse at Plastics who was doing the tattooing. She said she does like 2 or 3 or 3, I think, a week for the nipple tattooing. So, and she's been doing it for years. So she's very gifted and talented at what she does. But so she does all the measuring, and then she puts it's like a white markery kind of thing. It's almost like a combination between like a Sharpie and a colored pencil almost. But again, it feels weird for me because like obviously I have feeling here, but when she's drawing on me, it's hard to explain what the feeling feels like. If I bang into a wall with my boobs, I don't feel it. When she was tracing the circular outlines here, I felt it on both of my boobs. And I'm like, well, isn't that interesting? That like because I said like, is it a needle that you're using to make these marks? Because like, I can totally feel it. And it's like, oh, well, that's interesting that you can feel it. Well, much more interesting when you get to the needle and start doing the tattooing, because I was not expecting that at all. I'm like, I can like seriously, I'll clip a corner walking around or something and hit my boob and like won't even like know that I hit my boob until like the other parts of my boob hurt. Working at the gym, I am regaining feeling from the upper body work that I've been doing, like push-ups, which I hate to do, but I definitely am regaining feeling with the push-ups. So anyway, so she's tracing these white outlines for the areola, and she said like the tattooing is within those white lines. It's not like they'll be smaller than the white circles. And then she has, I have a picture of it. She has this like green plasticky thing that has all different size circles. And she asked me about like what size I would want. And I'm like, I don't know what a typical areola measures. I have no idea. I just want it to look as natural as possible. Also, I had pictures, I mean, they have them too, because they do a before picture at Plastics. But I had a picture on my phone of my boobs with my nipples after I had the biopsies, because I don't normally just take pictures of my boobs. After I had the biopsies, so I had a lot of black and blue and bruising and stuff, but you could still see, like, you know, my color skin and the color of my areola, because some are more tan and some are darker and some are more pink. And I mean, man, the amount of colors she had, like, obviously this is only, you know, not only, but this is, I don't know, I'm guessing maybe he used like 6, 7 colors. She must have had like 30 colors out there, like pinks and whites, and I saw purple and it looked like black, and it's just so interesting. And I'll have more to share about it because like it's not a one and done thing. I have to go back probably 2 more times. Um, so she does the outlining and then she does and then uh, at first she was looking at try to get an idea of like, is that the right spot? To me, the left one seemed higher than the right one was, the circle that she drew. But again, you have to remember that your boobs aren't like necessarily 100% level either, although I actually did put a level up to my boobs and they were. But you're comparing them to like the bottom of your boob, you're comparing them to the sides, and I'm like, does it go by this way in, or does it go by like centering it within the actual like entire boob, and like where does the boobs technically start and end? I guess it's easier to tell that when you have an implant because mine are above the pectoral muscle, so like it's very clear to see where my implant starts and ends. So it's a combination of all of those factors, but I did notice that my left one seemed a little bit higher. So I told her, and then she erased, not really erased, whatever she did to get rid of. I feel like she wiped it with something. She wiped it with something in the beginning to, I guess, to clean all of it because it smelled like really strongly like alcohol. But I feel like she wiped it to get the white off. She wiped it to get the white off. And then like when, in another point, she made, it looked like almost like a target where it was like a line up and down and then a line up and down here, but they didn't connect in the middle. Like a bullseye, not really like a bullseye. I don't know. It's hard to explain. And then she put the what would be the nipple circle in there just to get a better idea. It's like very much building on top of each other. It's an art project, for Pete's sake. I mean, really, it truly is an art project, which is why I say there's no perfect, because, you know, there's not. So she did that, and then like, and she said in the beginning, the most time-consuming part is just making sure the areolas are the size that you want and the location that you want. So she did that, and you're sitting in a like the office chair, whatever, not office chair, the reclining ones, you know, that eventually lay down. I was sitting upright. She had me stand for a bit of it when I was looking in the mirror to try to make sure we're on the same page as to where to put stuff. I feel like these vlogs, they're going to be longer just because there's a lot of information to share. Like I haven't had something happen where there's been a lot of stuff to share in a while. So I definitely want to, you know, I'm getting feedback from people that are like thanking me for sharing all this stuff because they just wouldn't know otherwise. And even when I was looking up stuff, like I don't find this shit. It's YouTube. I think everything's out there, but I didn't find this stuff on there. So anyway, once they get the placement ready, and it takes some time, but you have to like, you got to be open and straight with your person. This is like your body, you know, you have to be very open with what you like, what you don't like. It's definitely a collaborative effort, but it's like, it's your body. So they need to be on the same page as what you want, you know, and you have to make sure you advocate that here's what I want. You're a team, but this is what you go home with. And with the tattoos, it's like, you know, you can always add stuff to it, but taking it away is kind of a problem. So you want to make sure that communication is there. And she told me many times, like, for me to be as, for me, Jen, if you know me in real life, this is partly why I think it's even more funny. She said to be as detail-oriented as I could be. And I'm like, me? Like, I do Excel spreadsheets. I have to round to the nearest, like, whatever. You know, I am incredibly detail-oriented. So for someone to be encouraging my detail-orientedness was a bit amusing. But I very much appreciate that she is so perfectionistic herself, because you want someone perfectionistic doing this kind of shit too, you know? Anyway, so what I did beforehand to get ready, though I did feel like crap afterwards, so I don't know if I did all the right things. I remember looking up videos as to like what you should do because they don't really tell you much. Like, oh, just come in, you'll be fine. Bring us some water, whatever. They don't. I looked up some things on YouTube about like what do you do to prep before a tattoo, because this took a long time to get done. And like I brought AirPods and stuff, but you can't really use AirPods like when this is going on, because there's constant communication back and forth. Like maybe once, you know, she actually starts with the coloring and stuff where you don't really have to communicate much. So I had a really like hearty breakfast, plenty of protein, fruit, some carbs, uh, hydrate. I brought a really big water bottle with me that I was sipping every time like we took a break. Throughout the tattooing process, I think we took like 2 breaks. Um, and then like, you know, while I'm sitting or whatever, or I took as many water breaks as I could have. I had the water bottle between my knees, like on the ledge thing, so I could easily just grab it. I also took I wanted to bring a Gatorade, and then I realized I didn't have any Gatorade, but I made a liquid IV, so I drank half of that on the way in. I should have had the whole thing to make sure that I had enough like electrolytes in me. And I brought because the timing, it was at 1 o'clock, so like I had a late breakfast, and I'm like, you know, like you don't want to eat again, this is just what I've heard. You don't want to eat a huge meal before you have this done, because like if you're going to get queasy and you've just had a large meal, that's going to make you more queasy. I saw on YouTube like to kind of carb it up before you go in. So, and I did that with this too. Like I brought a protein bar, so I had something of, you know, sustenance sort of in my system, but not too much. And I brought a banana, but I never ate the banana. I should have had the banana before I went in. Again, it's potassium, it's sugar. You kind of want to have a little bit of a sugar rush going into this kind of thing, unless you're like diabetic or something, then don't listen. But and I feel like, oh, I know, I know why I feel like I didn't have enough time to do all those things. Why was I rushing? Well, I'm in the shower. I was gonna wash my hair, not even thinking that like once I have these done, like I don't want to put shampoo and shit on all of this in the beginning. I thought I'd take like a nice leisurely shower. I finished working and I get in the shower to take my nice leisurely shower, and I got I'm in the middle of like shaving and putting all the like washing and whatever, and I hear this sound, and I'm like, I had the radio, I had my phone, the music going, and I'm like, I hear this really weird sound. I'm like, what the hell's that sound? And it's like not going away. It sounded almost like a car alarm had gone off or something. But then it was like not going away, and I'm like, that's really weird. So I stepped out of the shower, and I hear like a beep, 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 and I'm like, I don't have any alarms set. What the fuck is that sound? I open the bathroom door, and the fire alarm is going off, and I'm like, you've got to fucking be kidding me. Because my reconstruction revision, again, I came home from that after, you know, whatever, 2 days after my check-in, and my apartment was flooding. So it was a tad triggering to hear the alarm go off. And then I'm like, is it a real fire? Or is it just like some, you know, someone set off a smoke alarm or something? Because here I am, like naked in the shower with like one leg shaved and one leg not, and like all soapy. And I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck to do right now. Because like, and it's like 20 degrees outside. So I can't like throw on a robe and leave. And like, I didn't know how long I was going to be out of my apartment, because you have to wait for the fire department to come and clear everything and whatever. I'm like, this is absurd. It was just, oh my God, just like, I think since I've lived here, maybe that's like the second time ever that the fire alarm has ever gone off. And I smelled something weird too. That, like, had I not smelled something weird, it turned out that it was fine. I don't know what was going on, but by the time I got outside, like I was there for 30 seconds, and the fire department had already been there, and they're like, you can go back in. But I'm going back in, and the alarm's still going off. Oh my God. I'm like, seriously? Like, if you'll get more of the irony and the triggering of all of that, like if you had rewound to January of 2 years ago. I'm like, I just want to like, I just want to get my damn tattoos and just have like an uneventful fucking thing happen with this whole process. So once I got back in, I didn't have a lot of time to like, you know, I certainly didn't have time to wash my hair. So I just brought it back down and never finished shaving the other leg, but oh my gosh. But like, she doesn't obviously do anything with my leg. Threw on some, I put my red and white leggings on. I put on my, my hope is stronger than fear, whatever it is, like cancer bracelet, whatever. This is going so long. I'm like, I won't talk long. There's a lot to talk about. The fire alarm, like really? Oh my God. Because then I'm like, you know, my head goes to where, when my apartment flooded, the fire alarm going off is what, is what got everyone out of the building, obviously, and then had people realize like what was going on. I was in my living room, so I didn't know that like water was pouring down my vents in my bedroom because I had carpeting, and I didn't hear it. I was watching TV. So messed up. Anyway, so like when I just like wanted to get dressed. I threw on shoes, no socks, grabbed my laptop, found my charger. I'm like, I know I'm taking too long in case there actually is a fire. Grabbed a bra, and threw it in a bag and just left. And thank God when I got downstairs, again, I wasn't even out there a minute when they're like, it's fine, go ahead back in, like you're all clear. And then I had to leave. So I'm like, well, let me put some socks on. It's very hard to get leggings on when you're just coming out of the shower and your legs are still like wet. Anyway, why was I wearing them? I don't know. Oh my God, I've been through a lot. So, all right, so where am I now? So I left, and yes, it hurt. I was not understanding why it hurt when like my boobs are numb. I'm like, it doesn't make sense that it's hurting. I'll try to look up some stuff online, but I tend to, again, not find the things I'm looking for. I just imagine that, like, you know, once she had stuff drawn on there, I was leaning back more, and then that was when she's like just doing her thing and just talking to me, and I'm just like looking up, doing, you know, whatever. So the right one, it was just like sensation. It wasn't like pain. It was like sensation, and I'm like, it's just weird. I'm like, I can feel what you're doing, but not in all spots. Like I couldn't feel anything at all down here, but when she was going up higher, I could. And even as I touch here, like I can feel, well, obviously my body right now is hypersensitive, but I can feel this like totally. And when I first had my surgery, I couldn't feel like from here down. And it seems like as I'm regaining feeling, it's coming from the outside and then working its way in, because I don't want to touch too much because it's been touched enough, and I need to just let these settle down. But I have more numbness in my right side because that's where my I had more tumors on my right side. I had six lymph nodes removed from my right side, and a seventh piece of tissue, which I'm not sure exactly what that was, but there's a lot more drama on the right side. The left side, I had I can't remember. You can look at all this shit up. But there was less stuff done on my left side. I had only 2 lymph nodes removed, I believe. I had tumors. They were benign after the biopsy, but when I had the pathology back, I had pretty sure it was invasive lobular carcinoma on the left side, or maybe it was in situ. I honestly don't recall, which is funny that I don't recall. Anyway, but there was less stuff done on the left side, so I have more feeling in general on this side. So she finished, well, not finished, but she got to a point on the right side where she's like, your skin's not happy with me. She's like, I need to stop, because it was getting red, not around it. I guess the part that she was actually tattooing was getting red to the point that the coloring that she was putting on didn't look pink anymore. It looked red. And she's like, I need to stop and let that just calm down. And then she switched over to the other side. And as soon as she touched the needle to my boob, I was like, wow, like I feel that. And there was nothing done beforehand, like with like numbing agents or whatever, because like I'm numb. I thought I was numb. And the majority of people that she works with, if not all, like basically are numb. So pain isn't an issue because you're numb. You don't have the nerve endings there. But today, this one decided to not be numb, which in the grand scheme of things is good, because it means that I'm regaining feeling, which is a big deal. Not necessarily to find that out when you're having a tattoo done. So she's doing her thing and stuff, and I'm just like, all right, now I need to fucking get in this damn zone. And I'm telling her like it hurts, but I'm like, let me just like breathe through it, because there were points with this, like when the orange was done, where he had a wider blade where it started to hurt too. And like he was very, taking pauses and whatever, and she was doing that too. But man, I'm fucking channeling, and I'm like doing the breathing and whatever. And I took this off. I had a mark on my wrist, and I'm like, I'm just wearing this too much. And right now I don't really give a shit how many steps I'm doing, but I should have kept it on in hindsight, to keep track of my heart rate. It's not midnight yet, so it'll still be on here. But my heart rate got up to 175, which is holy fuck, high. Oh my God. But I didn't know that. Like, I just knew that I felt off, and I started getting a little nauseous. And I'm like, this is how I felt with the tattoo, this tattoo also, after him working on me for so many hours. But I could feel it. I could feel every part that she was doing. And it was like my whole body then was like in sensory, like overdrive, which is ironic because, and I feel like this is in my blog, yesterday, before all this stuff, obviously, I was something was going on again where like I'm craving that proprioceptive input, and I had a bunch of my fidgety things that I was playing with, and I'm like, I don't know why all of a sudden I'm having this feeling. That went away with all this. I don't have it at all now because there's still like this tingliness with my boobs. So the whole thing, this whole fucking thing is like, what? It's like one big question mark. I don't even, it's so bizarre. So we went as long as we could go for this. I feel like it wasn't that much time, but it started, she's like, this one's not happy either. And she didn't want me to like, obviously like pass out or something. So she's like, let's just stop. And I was wondering why, like when they made the appointment, they said it was an hour and a half. Like, how the fuck does she do this in an hour and a half? Like, it's not just a plain, like, it's not just a plain tattoo. Like, she does, it's the 3D aspect of the actual nipple. And on the areola, there's texturizing stuff. So it feels more like an actual areola. But the reason it's only an hour and a half is because like this, you can't sit there doing this like you would on here for that long of an amount of time. So I didn't realize it's multiple sittings that you're there for. So it makes sense. So this is round one. When I was done, when she was done for now, she put Aquaphor on. So she sent me home my little treat bag. She put Aquaphor on, and then you see the square outlines and stuff. And then these Telfa pads, and I change them twice a day. So like I'll do it like morning and night. You gently wash the area with my fingertips with soap and water. I used Dove today because I didn't have Cetaphil, but I think I'm going to buy Cetaphil tomorrow. It's probably fine. I just obviously don't want to get anything infected. And then you lightly pat it with a fresh dry towel and apply a small amount of Aquaphor with a Q-tip. Though she applied it right to this and then put it on. I used a Q-tip, but then I still put a little bit on here because it seemed like I didn't want to like drag anything with the Q-tip. And then you put on a fresh one of these. So she gave me enough of these for a few days, and then it says like day 4 to 10, generally no bandage is necessary. So in theory, I should only need these for day 1, 2, and 3. So 2 more days. She said that, and I said this in the last vlog, when it's not like, when I touch it and it's not like tacky anymore, that's when I know I don't need to use these thingies anymore. Although I know myself, and I feel like I'm going to use these until they run out. I think she gave me 4 days worth. And then because I was so nauseous and stuff, she's like, we don't want that to happen next time. So she gave me a tube of lidocaine and prilocaine cream, 2.5%. So before my next appointment, I go back in 6 weeks. Here it says follow up in 2 weeks, but she's like, as long as there's nothing like going on. She's like, she said I could take Tylenol if I'm having pain. So I did take Tylenol when I got home at like 4. And I'm thinking, I mean, it's 11 now because I've been on here over an hour. So I'm thinking I should just like take 2 more Tylenol and then go to sleep. But before I go for the next one in 6 weeks, she obviously doesn't want me to be in pain like I was last time. So she told me to use this before I get there. So what I'm going to do with this is, she said, take half the tube. Whoops, fuck, that fell. Half the tube on my right side, half the tube on my left side, and then wrap myself in saran wrap, because if I put clothes on it, it's going to like rub off on all the clothes. Wrap myself in saran wrap here and then head over to plastics. She said I should do that like a half an hour to an hour before. She's like, probably do an hour before, so it's like kicked in when I get there. And that way my boobs will have lidocaine on them and be like, you know, anesthetized a little bit, unlike today. So that's where I am now. It's funny because like clothes wise, I'm like, here we go back to the world of like having to pay attention to what you're wearing. It's like, I don't want to wear a bra to bed. Like, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll wear my surgical bras. And the surgical bras that I have are the zipper ones, like the pink one. I don't have anymore. I didn't think I would need it anymore. But the zip up ones have like ruching here. And I don't want ruching on top. I don't want lines like pressing on. I need like smoothness. I don't want lines on my new tattoos. It may not be a big deal, but I just don't want to do that. So these tank tops, I got them on Amazon. I think they're just like Hanes or something, but they're pretty form-fitting. So I feel like nothing's going to move around while I'm sleeping. Either way, I'm going to put a shirt on over this, also because it's 20 degrees outside. And then I guess one of the cool things that I got when I moved to this new apartment is I have an adjustable bed, which I thought was only for old people. Maybe I am old, but they're very practical. So I can elevate myself a bit because you've got a less likelihood of like turning onto your side and stuff if you are elevated a little bit. And then I'll stick some pillows on the sides of me, just like last time, to make sure I don't move, because I don't want to. I'm not a stomach sleeper at all anymore, but I don't also want to lay on my side either, because I want to just like let these, you know, be here and just like leave them alone. But then like a thought came too that once I get to that 4-day mark and I'm not using the pads anymore, you still are supposed to put a light coat of Aquaphor on it, but I don't want that ruining all my clothes, because it's oily, so it'll like go through. So I need to like just stop by like a consignment place or like Savers or something and pick up just a couple of shirts I don't really give a shit about and just not be fashionable for whatever 10 days, just so I don't, like, if I get Aquaphor on my clothes, it's not a big deal. And I have to go back to wearing dark clothes because I'm not gonna wear a white top, and then, oh, and I have a sweater I just got that I really like. Whatever. There's always next winter. I don't want to like put it on something that it's white and then the aquaphor it like pops through and then you see like these white circle, or dark circles. Like I don't need to go there. When I took the original pads off that she put on, they did have like the ink was coming off a little bit, so I don't need to have pink nipple showing with a white top. Like, don't need to go there. And it is school vacation week this week, so I'm not, well, I tutored someone yesterday, but I'm not tutoring anyone for the rest of the week, so I can at least like take it easy for a bit. I was able to do work before and after, but I had to rest for a couple hours before I was able to do some work from home after. I think that's all I got, so I'm gonna pick up that lidocaine so I don't forget. I'm gonna take 2 Tylenol just so I can sleep, and then see what tomorrow brings. So this might be a record for a vlog, which I was not expecting at this point in this journey. I'm like, I don't know much to talk about anymore. Well, guess what? Now we have a whole other section of stuff to talk about. So, yeah. It's, I have to say that when you're looking in the mirror, taking off the bandages, it's very flashbacky to when that happens after your surgery, when you undo your bras and see your scars for the first time. Granted, like, nipple tattoos are a much more positive thing to look at than scars. And it is 2 things now that you're looking at that are different from the way your actual boobs were. And I know my actual boobs were trying to kill me and they needed to go. And now when I look at my boobs, I see a scar and this nipple that's not mine. I feel more ownership over the nipple and areola because I get to have so much say in what they look like. Did not have say as to what my scars were going to look like, where they were going to be. That's what the professionals do, This tattooing is more of a collaborative effort. It's like the, pun intended, cherry on the on the pie, on the ice cream. I don't know what you want to compare your boob to, but it's a treat. It's the last step in this whole reconstructive process. Even if it needs like touch-ups and stuff, it's just like the last part of making your reconstructed boob look as real as it can. So it's a lot. So be gentle with yourself. I kind of don't want to cry, even if I feel like I'm going to, because I don't want to like shake my body. I don't want to be in physical pain from when like like when you cry. I don't want to be in physical pain because of crying. So the crying just needs to get put on the back burner for now. And I was going to, I'm like, oh, I'll go out for a drink with a friend afterwards and celebrate. I was like, maybe I'll go to Lululemon and I have a gift card and like pick out a new shirt. Like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, I just wanted to go home and cover up. I picked up stuff for like a late lunch and just have that be that. Just gotta be kind to yourself. I am going out tomorrow with a friend of mine for, excuse me, for abstinence drink. We'll see how I'm feeling. Yeah. And the friends that like I was that I was thinking of like who do I want to spend time with, like given the circumstances. And it's just, again, thinking back to like who is there for me and who has truly shared this experience for me, that it would be important for me to share this last chapter of getting back to Jen and finishing up with my reconstructed body. Like, who do I want to share that with? Because that's something very special and very vulnerable and private, that's when, like, as much as I talk about losing my fun friends, that's what it's like. I mean, I have my warm, fuzzy friends that are also fun friends, but when it comes to this, it's like I am looking for those warm, fuzzy friends that I know are gonna be there, and they might not be the people that like I text like every couple of days or whatever, but they're just the right people. I have become a much better judge of like who is right for me at what time. So the woman I'm going for dinner with tomorrow is the perfect person for me to be going to dinner with. It's not Barb. Barb wasn't free, but of course I'm gonna like spend time with Barb because she's just been like my person. She's awesome. And other people are like, I can't wait to see, and I'm like, that's nice. You'll be waiting for a long time because it ain't gonna happen. And weirdly, my next appointment in 6 weeks is on a Monday, and that Friday is the Runway for Recovery retreat. So while I'm gonna like be in pain and may not be drinking as much alcohol as I was last time, although we're going to a different place, so I don't know, they might even be dry or something, I don't even know, but I'll be surrounded by people who get it, which it'll be a good confluence of experiences to have had this for the second time and then go someplace where I would show some of those women because like they all have been through similar journeys too. So, all right, I gotta get some sleep. I gotta take my Tylenol and just get some sleep and go to work tomorrow, go for a nice dinner. Yeah. All right, if you have any questions about any of this shit, just pop them in the comments below. Again, I don't tend to check my emails and stuff, and I'll try to get those stills up. I'll definitely put them on Facebook, but I'll try to edit them into this if I have the energy to do that. All right, everyone, enjoying the ride, man. Until next time, bye.